on this beautiful what? Tuesday. So, P. Diddy has been arrested. Okay, let's take a look at this article, y'all. Okay, here it is. P. Diddy arrested in New York, according to Entertainment WTX News. And this was September the 17th. Okay, this is the update. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, it says P. Diddy arrested in New York. The arrest follows raids on his properties in March. Music mogul involved in ongoing federal investigation into sex trafficking. Y'all know what? I'm telling you, I am just disappointed and shocked. Actually, I never would have thought this of Diddy. I was proud of Diddy. I thought Diddy was making an honest living, and I love to see us being successful. But all along, it was just dirty money. And dirty money comes with dirty results. And everybody that's involved in all of this dirty money, okay, you're gonna get they're gonna get bit. Living a lavish life with dirty money. That's just like y'all remember that movie, The Devil's Advocate? Y'all remember that? And he was winning all those cases because of Lucifer. So he was making dirty money. Y'all remember that? And so y'all remember what happened with his wife. She was going through depression and everything. Y'all need to go back and y'all watch that movie. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it says P. Diddy arrested in New York City. Sean Combs, known as P. Diddy. Now, I'm 54. Me and Puffy is the same age. That's right. So y'all know he is Puffy to me. Okay. Because we go way back. We're the same age. When he came out, he was Puffy. Then he called himself Puff Daddy. And then he started changing his name to all kinds of crazy, his nickname to all kinds of stuff. So anyway, he's Puffy to me. Okay, has been arrested in New York City on unspecified federal charges, according to reports from CBS. It's on the news, y'all, so this ain't no hearsay. Y'all, thanks for joining. Y'all hit the thumbs up. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. Yes, so it has happened, y'all. Puffy has been arrested. Those girls, I tell you the truth, those girls is going to feel the wrath because the children always get punished for the sins of their fathers. Yes, we do. That's why we are here scattered to the four corners of the earth because our ancestors sinned against the Most High. So the Most High made the curses up to 5 generations. Now, after the 5th generation, no curses. The curses is lifted. No more punishment. But don't think that the children don't pay for their parents because they do. That's in the Bible. And that's in the Old Testament, and the preachers could tell lies all they want to. The Most High said it, and that's what it is. And them kids is going to pay. Anybody that associate themselves with, whoever you associate yourself with, you're going to get what they get. Put it like that. Put it like that. And that's just how the Most High rolls. The Almighty Creator, that's how He rolls. So you got to watch how and who you associate with. Because you're going to get what they get. Sure enough is. Sure enough is. Sean Combs, known as P. Diddy, has been arrested in New York City on unspecified federal charges, according to reports from CBS, citing federal authorities. The arrest follows earlier raids on his Los Angeles and Miami properties in March as part of an ongoing federal investigation into sex trafficking. When they had that raid, I knew when Homeland Security came out, y'all knew he had to be doing something that was breaking the law of Homeland Security because Homeland Security protects, the Americans, okay? Protects the land. So I knew right then he had to be doing something that was breaking the laws of the land, okay? But y'all know what? He should have been locked up a long time ago because the things that he has been accused of goes way back in the 90s. It goes back way in the 90s. And you know what? These people that's coming after him, the Most High, the Almighty Creator, is going to come after them because he wouldn't be able to do what he's been doing had they not sat there and participated with him. Because he don't know nothing about none of this stuff. He was taught all of these things. That's just like drugs. Our black men didn't know anything about no doggone drugs because we don't grow no darn drugs. We don't got ships and stuff to bring drugs in. They the one bring drugs in. They do that. The government does that. And they plant that mess in the black neighborhoods and want to ruin the black neighborhoods. But let me tell you something. Lucifer don't care what color you is. He's in the suburbs. He's everywhere. So see, what goes around comes around. Yeah. So, Combs' lawyer, Mark, what is that? Agnifilo, expressed disappointment over the arrest, maintaining that his client is an innocent man. Well, of course you're going to say that, but everybody is not lying. The music icon, and he's not no music icon at all. He just used music to cover up what he was really doing, which is sex trafficking and whatever else. And y'all think about it. Think about all of those people. Now, since he has been arrested, let me tell y'all something. Y'all know that P. Diddy, Puffy, is not going down by himself. And he shouldn't go down by himself because just like I said, whatever he's into, he was taught these things. Even from a child. Because his dad was in the street. His dad allegedly, let's say allegedly, his dad was allegedly killed by his dad's brother. Yeah. Yeah, go do the research on, I think it's Melvin Combs. Go do the research. Yeah. He came up in a rough way, for one thing. He did. He's not like this for nothing. Okay, he's been exposed to this ever since he was a child. So what he's into is not surprising to him. It's surprising to us because we don't know him. Okay, and all we see is the glitz and glamour of things. All we see is that, oh, he's supposed to be success. Okay. But he's been in this world ever since he was a child because his mom was in the underworld. Okay. Sure enough, go back and look at the history of Janice Combs and her husband. So this is nothing new to him. He's been into this world ever since he was a child. So I would say he was, do I want to say innocent? To a point, but at some point you make your own choices though. You know? You could be exposed to bad things when you're a child. You can. So At that point in life, you are innocent, but at some point, it's up to you what road you choose, what choices that you make. And that goes for all of us, okay? But yeah, he had some bad influences. He had some bad influences from the beginning. He did. He did. He had some bad influences from the beginning. The music icon has been battling a series of serious allegations in recent years, ranging from sexual assault to abuse, including accusations from his former partner Cassandra Cassie Ventura. Now, at first, he claimed everybody was lying, but when they released them tapes of him hurting Cassie, that was all it. And then he wanted to come back and apologize. No, you have already damaged yourself by catching yourself up in a lie. hmm Because this, just like Puffy had tapes, they got tapes. But that was crazy, y'all, when they did that raid and found all those tapes. At first, I was siding with him because I thought he just had some simple, security cameras. Because hell, I got security cameras. Everybody should have a security camera in their homes, for their safety. But honey, Puffy had security cameras in every single thing. He was actually recording people's actions, okay? And y'all just think about all the people who, y'all, this is going to get good. Y'all, this is just the beginning because Puffy is going to go in there and sing like a canary. And he should because he's not by himself. Everybody that was in them white parties, and y'all remember them white parties? Now, we all know about those white parties that Puffy had. Now, we didn't know what was going on at those parties, but we remember those white parties back in the day, in the 90s and 2000s. hmm Everybody and anybody was at those white parties. Now we know what was going down at those parties. Oh my gosh. Y'all, this is getting so good because think about all of those people that was at those white parties, the Kardashians, Diana Ross, anybody and everybody was at those parties. Even the royal family was at those white parties. They all partied together. Anybody that's anybody or even thought they was anybody and had connections with anybody was at those parties. So I can't wait to hear the list of people that he's going to spill. You know what? And I also think, okay, that YSL um, jury, they've been showing on YouTube long enough. They need to show us Puffy being arrested. They need to actually show us, okay? They need to have it on the news, just like they showed us uh, his house being raided. They need to show us them putting cuffs on Puffy. That's what they need to show. They need to show his trial. They need to get rid of that YSL trial. They've been showing that trial long enough. Okay? They need to show Puffy now. They need to show him actually on camera being arrested. Not that this is not facts, but we need to see it. Okay? Music icon, y'all put something in the chat. Thanks for the thumbs up. Okay. Combs has denied all claims. He is also facing civil lawsuits with allegations, including the rape of a minor, several damn minors, and attempts to coerce a producer into unwanted sexual acts. Y'all, there is so many lawsuits against him. He's not going to recover from this. And it is so surprising that he's been out roaming this long. Because you got a lot of our black men that was gunned down for just simple stuff. Just driving a darn car. But here you have this criminal. He's been criminaling for years. For years. He hasn't even been gunned down. They gunned down the rest of the black men. Why they didn't gun down him? What made him so special, y'all? They didn't even gun him down, y'all. So he's into some heavy stuff. He has some heavy supporters. He know a lot about everybody. So the only reason that's the reason they haven't gunned his behind down. He knows some heavy hitters. He got some heavy hitters in his corner. Because you got black men being killed just because of a bag of damn Skittles. Just walking around. But he's so damn special, he could commit crimes for years and years. But just like Suge Knight said, see, they got Suge Knight locked up because Suge Knight was not going to do his dirty work, like do their dirty work and destroy the black community like Puffy was going to do. See, that's why they got Suge Knight locked up because he wasn't going to do it. But not only has he destroyed the black community, he destroyed anybody and everybody because you talk about trafficking people. This is like the same thing that T.I. and Tiny was into. Uh-huh. Because they darn sure ain't making no money from music. Okay, the rest is reportedly linked to a continuing investigation by U.S. Homeland Security, according to multiple law enforcement sources. Every last one of them should be locked up. Every last one of them that knows so much about Puffy, that want to tell so much, ought to be locked up because they helped him do it. They should have locked Puffy up from day one. They can't call Puffy nothing because they helped him do every damn crime he did. Let's go. Let's see what else they got here. Oh, shoot, that's it, y'all. Let's see if I can find another. Let's see if I can find another article, y'all. Let's see. Okay, here. Let's see. P.Diddy, it says P.Diddy sunbathing before arrest. And y'all know what? I'm surprised that I'm surprised that Puffy didn't try to flee the country right along with Russell Simmons. Russell, right? I'm surprised. Okay, let me see if I get the sound up, y'all. Where is it? Okay, let's see.
With the business arrangements that he made prior to marrying her. Okay, this was his business. This is what was going on. The reason his wife went to the police station as opposed to calling the police and saying my husband is missing, like his car's out in the driveway, is because she was tipped off and she became frantic. She was unaware of it, but then tipped off. This was something that was lurking below their I guess their interactions as a family, that this threat could come up. Now here's the kicker. Somebody, Stephen, was basically asked by a group of people to gather information against somebody in a high position within the entertainment industry, a high political, physical position. But what if the people that asked him to get this information were not actually on the side of said high-end level star? Okay, so what if they weren't on the side? What if they were on the side of trying to take
Okay.
this person down?
Okay, give me 1 second, y'all.
Get some wisdom from them. Nice move, Irvin. Appreciate that. Thank you. Cigna Healthcare has tools and resources to make Medicare simple and easy for rookies and pros. Call now 855-CIGNA65.
At approximately 1:30 p.m., former President Trump was playing.
Oh no, that's Trump.
Looking for more than just accounting software?
Okay, let's read the article. Okay, Sean Combs was spotted hanging out in Central Park just hours before his arrest. The rapper, 54, appeared relaxed, sitting on a knoll in New York in the sun, seemingly unbothered by his latest controversies. Okay. The video, which could be the last of him as a free man, was shot on Sunday. Diddy was taken into custody Monday night in New York City by federal agents from Homeland Security investigations. Charges are unclear. And this is according to Yahoo News. Let me see if I could go back and pull that video, y'all. Oh, that's him. Okay, so what do y'all think? Let's see. Let me find some more news on this by Puffy. This is just ridiculous. And y'all know what? I had forgot that I had forgot that Puffy was let's see what this is. Okay, here it is. Law and Crime, y'all.
The disgraced music icon has faced startling allegations for months of rape, sexual assault, physical abuse, gun trafficking, and drug trafficking. On Monday evening, he was indicted by a grand jury in New York. He was taken into custody in Manhattan, where he's been for the last week in anticipation of these charges. Now, the charges haven't been made public just yet. In fact, the indictment was sealed. But according to the New York Times, a person familiar with the prosecution says they believe Diddy faces charges of racketeering and sex trafficking. Diddy's legal team said they were disappointed with the decision to prosecute, but mentioned their client has been cooperative with law enforcement. A statement from his legal team reads, quote, Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man, and proven philanthropist who has spent the last 30 years building an empire, adoring his children, and working to uplift the Black community. He is an imperfect person, but is not criminal. To his credit, Mr. Combs has been nothing but cooperative with this investigation, and he voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. Please reserve your judgment until you have all the facts. These are the acts of an innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looks forward to clearing his name in court. All this comes about 6 months after 2 of Diddy's homes were raided by federal investigators back in March. Then we couldn't confirm Diddy was the target of the Homeland Security raids or what information the feds collected. Most of what we know came from the 5 civil suits with a series of shocking allegations ranging from the 90s until now. Multiple people alleged Diddy raped them, drugged them, and reported all of that. We can't confirm it just yet, but it was likely those civil lawsuits that led up to the federal investigation and later Diddy's arrest. This is breaking news that is constantly developing, so stay with Law and Crime for all the latest updates. For now, let's take a look back at the allegations leading up to Diddy's arrest. For the past 3 decades, we've come to know Sean Combs as multiple different names. P. Diddy, Puffy, Puff Daddy, Puff, The 54-year-old is a rapper, entrepreneur, and label exec. Things changed for him on March 25th when Homeland Security raided two of his homes, one in California and the other in Florida. There's no word yet whether Diddy himself was the target of those raids, and he's not been charged criminally. That being said, some allegations of his criminal past became a major topic of conversation when news of the raids broke.
That's what was so stunning when Cassie Ventura filed her lawsuit earlier this year. It kind of broke the dam, and it was just the floodgates opened, and all of these other allegations started to come to the surface.
That's Melba Pearson, a former prosecutor who's followed the Diddy case meticulously since it broke. Her interest actually dates back farther than just last month, when Diddy's Bad Boy for Life mantra was just a song. And we know about the allegations now that have happened in the past couple months via these civil suits. But if we go back, I know that you have kind of followed Diddy for a while and you're pretty knowledgeable about that era. From the 90s until now, prior to these civil lawsuits being filed, was there talk of wrongdoing on Diddy's behalf?
There really wasn't. To compare him to R. Kelly, for instance, there were rumors swirling around R. Kelly from the beginning, and that started off with his marriage to a very underage Aaliyah, and that's when folks were like, okay, something doesn't seem right here. But like, kind of put it to the side, just kind of put a pin in it for a few decades until all the bombshell allegations and ended up being proved in a court of law came forth. I feel like with Diddy, we didn't hear that much. We knew that he partied hard. We knew that he was always going to high profile events and all of that. But I personally have never heard any rumors surrounding any wrongdoing or anything having to do with him. This is an artist who really came to prominence in the 90s. We remember all of the videos. He was very close with Biggie Smalls, who also tragically lost his life back in the late 1990s, early 2000s. And so he was somebody who had this whole orbit around him, and so many different artists like Maze and all these different folks that sprung out from this record label and orbit that they were in. So he had a huge impact on what R&B and hip hop looked like in the 90s and the 2000s, and continue to be influential today in terms of other artists that have, gained prominence and gained fame, as well as him as a producer having this really huge presence in the industry. So absolutely, this is a bombshell, and this is something where the impact is going to be reverberating around the globe for a variety of reasons.
But during this era, Diddy did have some trouble with the law. Back in 1999, he was arrested and charged in a shooting at a New York nightclub. His then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez and rapper Shyne were also arrested. J-Lo's charges were dropped, but it was Shyne who faced the most serious charges: 3 counts of attempted murder and criminal possession of a weapon. Ultimately, both Diddy and Shyne went to trial. Diddy was acquitted, but Shyne was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison. He was released in 2009 and deported back to his home country of Belize. If we're looking at it in the 1999 lens, or the early 2000s when they went to trial, what was everyone making of it then?
So I think people were not like horrified per se. I think they looked at it as, well, this is part and parcel of the hip hop industry. I don't think it was very shocking because, there's definitely a perception, somewhat reality as well, that there is violence in the hip hop community and sort of that beef between different groups or different labels. We all know about the East Coast, West Coast beef that was going on during the 90s with Tupac on one side, Biggie on the other. So this was something that was an outgrowth of that time frame. So I don't think folks were super shocked at that juncture. I think what was more shocking was sort of Jennifer Lopez's involvement in all of this, because I don't think, even though she was like, yeah, I'm Jenny from the block, I don't think anybody really saw her as really going to be that quote unquote that chick who is coming with the firearm and is going to hold it down and ride or die for her man. Like, I don't think people really saw that of her. So I think that was the most shocking part of the case back in 1999.
So we've got these allegations that Diddy was responsible as the shooter, but also allegations that J-Lo carried the weapon that Diddy used in the shooting. What's interesting here is that Cassandra Ventura, known publicly as the singer Cassie, says Diddy made her do the same thing. She filed a lawsuit
Wow.
in November of last year, laying out some pretty severe allegations about Diddy. To start, there's that gun allegation that on at least 2 occasions, Diddy demanded Cassie hold his gun in her purse. The lawsuit goes on to state, quote, "There was no clear reason why Mr. Combs required her to hold his gun, except to reinforce to his young girlfriend that he was violent, powerful, and dangerous."
Not only did Jennifer Lopez allegedly bring the gun to the club, now we're also looking at years later, Cassie coming forward and saying that Diddy forced her to carry a gun with her when they went out to different events. So again, I think that this is more along the lines of when you look at this from a domestic violence lens, from the standpoint of the abuser being very controlling and demanding certain activities to prove loyalty, to basically put yourself in a bad situation where only he can be the one to save you, basically. So in seeing that, the parallels between J-Lo's experience and Cassie's experience, number one, it brings more credibility to what Cassie said in her pleadings, but also, again, it causes us to look at Jennifer Lopez and be like, some of the comments she made about the end of her relationship to Diddy, in terms of, well, there was infidelity, and she kind of skirted the issue a bit. But when you start to look back at her comments, you start to think, ooh, were you in a domestic violence relationship with Diddy, much like how Cassie ended up in a domestic violence relationship with him?
What would have made her want to come forward, and what did you take away from that civil suit?
So the reason why she came forward at this juncture is because New York and California both passed laws around, which was called the Adult Survivor Act. So that basically extends the statute of limitations.
It's interesting that several more people have come forward. There's 4 additional lawsuits, 2 Cassie's, and several of them mention Cassie by name and say, hey, because she came forward and told us about these allegations, we felt comfortable doing the same thing. So did it really backfire for Diddy then?
I think it did. I think it did, because if this had been settled without any kind of public involvement, any kind of media coverage, these other people may never have come forward. So by, kind of calling her bluff and saying, oh, yeah, there's no way you're going to file this, he did himself a whole lot of damage. But I'm glad, because at least now the truth is going to come out and everyone will know who this person is. And now, of course, that kicked everything into high gear in terms of law enforcement involvement and investigations. So as much as this whole thing is sad and sordid, I'm glad that it's coming out so that more survivors can get the closure that they need and that he can be brought to justice for the crimes he's perpetrated on others.
Among those other lawsuits, another filed under the New York Survivors Act by Joy Dickerson Neal. Her allegations date back to 1991 when she was a student at Syracuse University. Joy says Diddy intentionally drugged her, resulting in her being in a physical state where she could not independently stand or walk. Joy also alleges she's a victim of revenge porn because Diddy allegedly recorded the rape and passed around that videotape. According to her suit, Joy demands a jury trial, as does Liza Gardner, who also says Diddy raped her in New York in the 90s. According to her civil suit, Liza and her friend met Diddy at a party and later went with him to an after party where she, quote, was offered more drinks and coerced into having sex with Combs. Liza says Diddy and another man raped her and her friend. Later on, she says Diddy choked her to the point that she lost consciousness. While Jane Doe doesn't list her name in the lawsuit, she does list multiple photos of herself and Diddy. Her allegations date back to 2003 when she was just 17 years old and in 11th grade. Her lawsuit states at this time, Diddy was twice her age and one of the most well-known and influential music artists of all time. Jane Doe alleges Diddy flew her from Michigan to New York on a private plane and raped her in a recording studio. All of this leads us back to Lil Rod's 74-page lawsuit that was filed back in February, detailing a laundry list of wild accusations. Melba says all this parallels a trajectory we've seen before.
Oh, it absolutely is a fall from grace. I have no question in my mind that this is going to be the end of Diddy as we know him.
It's
right?
the
The
end
next
end.
chapter is going to be him incarcerated, much like R. Kelly. And which is, of course, sad, tragic, and horrible, not only for him, but more importantly for the survivors who have gone through some horrific experiences. Um, but yeah, I think this is definitely going to be the end because with all of the allegations that have come forward and come forth at this juncture, all the artists that have come forward alleging wrongdoing, I can't see how he gets out of this. I just can't.
According to Lil Rod's lawsuit, he lived with Diddy for months at a time while working on Diddy's Love album. During this time, he says Diddy sexually assaulted him, forced him to have sex with prostitutes, and drugged him. On top of all this, Lil Rod says his allegations are corroborated with hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in some serious illegal activity because Diddy apparently required Lil Rod to record him constantly. The lawsuit even lays out some pictures, like this one, showing Cuba Gooding Jr. with his arm around Lil Rod. According to this suit, Lil Rod alleges Diddy was, quote, grooming him to pass him off to his friends. This fear became reality when Mr. Combs introduced Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr. while they were on Mr. Combs' yacht. Court documents go on to state, Cuba Gooding Jr. began touching, groping, and fondling Mr. Jones's legs, his upper inner thighs near his groin, the small of his back near his buttocks, and his shoulders. But then there are other defendants listed, like corporations such as Universal Music Group and Motown Records, along with their higher-ups. To understand this, I spoke to entertainment attorney Mitra Okurian. In addition to these record labels that are listed as defendants, they also list CEOs, a former CEO of Motown Records and then a current CEO of UMG. So I'm wondering why, in addition to these labels, are they listing the CEOs?
Yeah, they're trying to pierce the corporate veil. They're trying to say that, you as individuals also were aware of these things happening.
Someone we know for sure is speaking with investigators, though, is Cassie. Melba says she's not surprised.
I expect that she would have, because again, if she's telling the truth, then she's going to give any evidence that she has. So in terms of if there's recordings she knows existed, right? I mean, she may not have possession of it, but she could be like, listen, in July of 2005, he
Thanks for the
went
likes.
to XYZ at this particular hotel. There may be surveillance footage to show me going in and out of the building. There may be video that he took of the horrible events that may have happened that day. So now at least law enforcement will know exactly where to look and start to narrow down different timelines, and then also speak to other witnesses or maybe other survivors that were present and victimized at another point in time, but they can help corroborate some of what she's saying, and that is going to help put together the case against Diddy, likely for human trafficking, for sex trafficking, narcotics charges, etc.
So what we believe is that the Cassie lawsuit kind of spurred this investigation. But is it possible that Lil Rod's bombshell lawsuit that came out in February is really what kicked it into high gear? Because there we learned about the many hours, he says hundreds of hours of recordings. And then as we know, federal investigators were at multiple of his homes. Could those two things be correlated?
Oh, they absolutely are. They absolutely are. I would think that the feds or law enforcement was investigating from when Cassie's lawsuit was filed, but now they have additional fuel for the fire. So now in reading Lil Rod's lawsuit, now we're getting into drug use, we're getting into drug trafficking, we're getting into mules, we're getting into pink cocaine. Who knew? And so you're hearing and seeing all of these other allegations that now the feds can be like, okay, now I know I need to look for surveillance tapes. Now I need to look for this aspect. Now I need to speak to these folks because they were listed in Lil Rod's lawsuit.
All of that leads us up to right now and the speculation of what's next for Diddy. As far as Diddy's name, who's all over multiple of these lawsuits, I mean, he's the main kingpin in all of this. He may be facing some reputational damage, but I'm wondering what's going on behind closed doors with him and his attorneys. What sort of game plan are they making?
Well, I'm going to say that that is going to be a very active war room right now because basically they're going to be scrambling to figure out how to avoid criminal liability. Who are the people that are likely to testify against him? Can they try and mitigate that in any way, which I don't think they can? And then also preparing for criminal charges being filed and starting to think through what a defense strategy could look like, making sure that you have bond money set up in case there's bond available for whatever offenses he's charged with, and then okay, making sure you have money set aside that wouldn't be otherwise encumbered because for whatever reason, right? I mean, there's a number of reasons why you may not be able to get cash out right away. Let's say the cash is tied up in your house, you may not be able to get access to it right away. So you may want to have a separate pool just to be able to pay for that, right? So these are some of the logistics that his defense team might be looking at in preparation for the charges that will come, because there's no question in my mind charges will come.
This story is constantly evolving with new information coming out daily. For updates in Diddy's case, make sure to check back right here with Long Crime for the latest. Reporting for Long Crime, I'm Sierra Gillespie.
Okay, thanks for watching, guys.